Ah, that is more tilted than I thought it was. Thought I had it straight, maybe for once. As if anything about me will ever be straight. Ha ha! Alright. After that ridiculous comment, here we go. Excuse me while I pour myself some water. Ah. Crisp. How's everybody doing? Hey there, Castillo. How am I? I'm tired. As is frequently the case, that's kind of my life, is being tired. Vodka. Ooh, dang, you ain't messing around. Or are you suggesting that I'm drinking vodka? It's water. Nice mug. Yeah, I love this mug. I got that, I think 2 Christmases ago I got this. It's also huge. Like, I take my morning coffee in this, or at least I'm trying to cut back on the amount of coffee I drink, so I don't take my morning coffee in this anymore, because this was like 2 runs of the coffee maker, like the single serving coffee makers. You had to run it twice to fill this up. Yeah. Would you drink vodka? Straight vodka. Like, I don't mind vodka as a mixer. Straight vodka, like, chilled, maybe, but by and large, not really my deal. Ooh, Hufflepuff from Cornwall. I like the t-shirt. Yes! I got it in a different color in the opposite order, because I already had it in gray with this bit on top and that bit on the bottom. But I decided to do this one too, so that I've got variety. And I can march around and be a walking billboard for my own merch. Because I'm a shill, but I'm a shill for myself. Because nobody else will be. Do you like tea? Yes, I love tea. I don't like fruity teas, though. Like the lemon zinger and like raspberry, but no. Black tea. Give me green tea sometimes, sure. But like, give me Earl Grey, give me English breakfast, give me, like, that to me is tea. Screwdrivers for the... See, screwdrivers, that was the kind of thing that I drank in college. So for me, that takes me back, like, into a weird time. That not a time I'm sure I entirely want to revisit. Jägermeister, I actually like Jaeger. Most people I know don't like Jaeger at all, but I actually do. I don't drink it often, but I do like it. Favorite coffee blend? I actually don't have one, because I have a favorite creamer instead, because what is it? Cold Stone Creamery makes a creamer, a sweet cream creamer, and that's what I use. And it kind of doesn't matter what coffee I put it into, so I'm not exceptionally picky. And I go lighter on cream and sugar than I used to. Like, originally, when I first started drinking coffee, the thing was, again, I've softened a little, but like initially, certainly, I didn't like coffee. What I liked was coffee ice cream. So I would add as much cream and sugar as it took to make coffee taste as much like coffee ice cream as I could make it. Is there any actor you think shouldn't ever play the Doctor? Yeah, an American. That's it. Vodka and tea? Ugh. Earl Grey hot? Yes, of course hot. Thanks for fitting the stereotype of us nerds. See, I do like Earl Grey, but I like Lady Grey, which is like a slightly milder version. But Earl Grey was kind of my hook in for tea, outside of going to Chinese restaurants and having the tea they serve there. I love spacesuits and also Pride Month. Ooh, boy, combine those. Get yourself a rainbow spacesuit. Ooh! Speaking of, hot toddies. I made Liz hot toddies this past weekend because she had a cold. But I don't know if folks remember, I said that I won my Oscar pool a few months ago. And I finally got the trophy in. I had to wait to get this because they put, they engrave it for every win. And So it's like the Stanley Cup. I get to hold on to this for a year until the next Oscar pool, and then whoever wins that one gets to, if they want it in their house, gets to have it for a year. And dang right I want it in my house. I love this thing. This is actually the second time, although last time I won, back in 2014, that was a tie. So I only got it for 6 months that time. Full year this go. I'm very, very happy to have that right there. Remind an Irish girl what a hot toddy is. Okay, so a hot toddy, the actual alcohol you could use would vary. Some people use gin, some people use bourbon. I did it with rum, but it is boiling water and lemon and the booze and honey that you melt in the water, and then you just got to get the portions right, and what you end up with is basically a boozy lemon tea is what it tastes like. Who is Liz's favorite Supernatural character? Liz, like me, doesn't watch Supernatural, so I couldn't tell you. Hello from Wales. Oh God, it's late there. Well, early actually, I guess it's probably AM by this point. Nice trophy night. Yeah, I like it a lot. So my weekend was me realizing I don't like any of the Austin Powers movies anymore. I don't know how to feel about that. I'm afraid to rewatch the Austin Powers movies. See, like, here's the thing. I actually never thought the second one was all that good. Like, that was the one that blew up huge, and I really didn't care for it that much. I still, like, my memory of the first one is really solid, and I'm afraid to put that to the test. Because I'm not sure there's any genre that inherently ages as badly as comedy does. Because, and I've actually been, I've written up a script. I don't know when I'll get around to it. I've actually done a script for a video that would touch on this. And part of the problem with comedy is the fact that any joke is based off a set of based assumptions that it is presumed the audience has. But the thing is, societally, our base assumptions change as a society and about people, about certain kinds of people. So the reason jokes age so badly is because the base assumptions about what is acceptable as a target for a joke or what is acceptable as the groundwork that you build a joke on, that stuff all shifts just naturally over time. But the joke is frozen in time as whatever it was. It's so funny, like all these things about Austin Powers, they're getting flagged for potential bad language because of things like fat bastard and Austin pussy, and we'll see if my saying them out loud now gets this thing demonetized. We'll see. Surprise visit of your daughter in last week's video made my week. So cute to hear your combo. I honestly thought I'd cut that out of the video. See, this is why I need to stop editing when I'm tired. Because this is what, like, I make a very strong point to not shoot when I'm tired, because I don't know if anyone else can tell, but there are times that I look at myself and I'm like, oh God, I look like I'm about to pass out. But what I would do is I'd shoot when I was awake, but I would edit late into the night. I gotta stop editing tired. That said, people seem to really dig the heck out of that peeing left in there. So I'm glad people got a kick out of it. More often than not, I leave mistakes in because it's pretty rare that they're so egregious that it like ruins the entire video. So that's far from the only video where I've left a mistake in. By and large, though, I just leave them. Which video? It was earlier this week. Oh God, which one was it? It was the, God, why can't I remember my own stuff? Hang on. I bet you somebody's already answered it. I think it was the Hitchhiker's Guide video. Or maybe, or was it the one about the Jadoon? I can't remember now. Somebody else will say. Oh, it was the Hitchhiker's video. Yes, that was the one. I got Audible recently. I used my credits to get and pre-ordered the Doctor Who Lost TV Stories collection. I'm scared for the Celestial Toy Maker. Long-term project. I really want to get an audio version of my book put together, but I'd need to hire a professional sound engineer to pull that together worth a dang, and I can't afford it. So, Ravenclaw from California. Well, hi to you too, Tracy. Oh, it's a decent hour where you are. Irish breakfast is delicious. Yes, I agree with that one. A lot of Eddie Murphy stand-up is unwatchable to me now. That's kind of a good go-to example. And actually, I think that's why, so my favorite comedian of all time is George Carlin. I think a lot of his earlier stuff, like from the 60s and 70s, actually holds up better than his stuff from like the 90s onward, which is actually when I discovered him, so I'm more nostalgic for it. And that's not to say that the stuff he did in the 90s was actually worse, but the older stuff aged better because the older stuff he did on more broad topics. So, like talking about the nature of language, talking about, the nature of religious and superstitious beliefs. These are broad topics. Whereas his later stuff, he would talk very specifically about what was going on right now in political arenas. And it was good for as long as it stayed topical, but being topical means it ages faster. Which comedy has aged the best? So, oh boy. Eddie Izzard's ages pretty well so far because he'll have pop culture references, but he tends to stick to stuff that has stood the test of time. So his ages pretty well. Some of Robin Williams stuff has aged poorly, but that is a pop culture thing. But he throws in so many pop culture references, and actually, unpopular opinion, a lot of his performance in Aladdin doesn't hold up that well because of how dated some of those references are, and honestly, some of them I didn't even get at the time. Some of them I still don't. So, anything that referencey, it tends to not age well. And also, not necessarily unpopular opinion, but let's go with unpleasant one. It's Bill Cosby himself. If you can still bring yourself to look at the man, and I can't. I had my copy of that, and I got rid of it. But that has aged really well because it's about parenting, and it's about family relationships, and it's about the kind of dynamics that haven't changed massively from decade over decade, or even if they have, you can still relate to what he's talking about. So I really hate that I have to cite that as an example of a comedy set that has aged amazingly well, but I can't watch it anymore. So there you go. Hold on, I lost something here. Dang it. Let me get it back. You're going to see Rocket Man when it comes out this week. I saw it already. It's a beautiful musical biopic that I highly recommend. Actually, yes, Liz is super pumped for that. So, yes, we are making an effort to see that as soon as we can from when it comes out. That does not mean I'll be making a video on it. I don't promise that. If it blows me away, I might. But otherwise, it's just kind of outside the wheelhouse of this channel. Are you a fan of the band Supertramp? I know the name. I actually don't know if I know any of their songs, though. I probably do. But Bill Hicks, some of Bill Hicks' stuff on religion has aged pretty well. Bill Hicks's political stuff has aged okay. Better than you'd think. His specific references naming specific political figures, that hasn't aged great. Obviously, those people aren't in power anymore. But from the perspective of he's skewering a certain political perspective and just naming some people who hold that one, it holds up all right. Bill Hicks does okay. I've seen it. I agree. I just want to see what Council of Geeks thinks. Well, I mean, we'll see. If nothing else, after seeing Rocket Man, I'll definitely talk about it on the live stream. So there's that. Aged shockingly well, Andy Griffith's Show and Gilligan's Island. Not a big fan of either one, but honestly, I could believe that. And actually, I feel like wordplay ages well. I mean, that's why Shakespeare comedies are still good. Death Star Cantina is still my favorite Eddie Izzard bit. Oh, that is a good bit. And I saw Eddie perform in Burlington a couple years ago, and he kind of revived that bit. Like, he didn't do it again, but he did a callback to it. And bringing back Mr. Stevens, the head of catering. Oh, God, I love that. I love that man to death. What's your favorite kind of titles for Doctor Who? I like titles that are creepy and mysterious and give viewers questions before watching. An example of this is It Takes You Away. I hadn't really thought about it before. What I will say is, unless they're revealed like within the first 5 minutes, I don't like the name of the villain being put in the title. You know, like, whatever of the Daleks I'll kind of roll with, but like even that, honestly, sometimes, like, Daleks in Manhattan should not have had Daleks in the title, because for how long it is before they actually show up, and the way that they had exited the show at the end of Series 2, it should have been much more surprising when they showed up again. But instead, it's in the friggin' title, so, yeah. I think the exception is somewhat Robin Williams' roles, but I admit I'm heavily biased as I look up to him and his work. Well, it's not that his roles have aged. When I say comedy has aged, like, mostly I'm talking about jokes that tend to age poorly. Like, comedy styles can hold up well, comedic performances can hold up well, but like specific jokes, setup, punchline, that's the kind of stuff that tends to age not very well, all things considered. Did you find time to watch the Twilight Zone reboot? I have not. If I'm very lucky, Liz alerted me that season 4 of Legends of Tomorrow is now on Netflix, so I can get started on that if I can find the time. There's a lot of stuff I'm working on. I'm still working on the book, Player of Games. I'm working on a Netflix series that I got commissioned to do. I'm editing a monster of a video that is turning into a lot more work than I expected it to. So, a lot of stuff to try and find time to do things in. And we got the announcement for Jessica Jones. That's coming out in, 3 weeks? Gotta fit that in now, too. Good grief. And Black Mirror. We got 3 more Black Mirrors coming out. Hey! Like, I love what I do, but man, sometimes this stuff piles up. Have you watched Orange is the New Black? I watched the first 2 seasons and stopped. Because season 1 I was mixed on, season 2 I liked, and then everything I heard about what went on after that, I'm like, I'm just going to pretend it ended at season 2. Thank you very much. Hey, I finally got some pronoun pins. Congratulations, Jasper. Very cool. Airplane is a great comedy that still works well. And actually, surprisingly, it does. But it's because, like, as much as it's a spoof, it's playing with broad tropes as opposed to parroting specific films, which it actually does do as well. But most of the jokes are about, generally, the broader the target of a joke is, the better it ages. The more specific it is, the less likely it's going to age well, unless it's something that's not going to change, like language changes so slowly that wordplay usually ages pretty well. I quit after season 5. I'm assuming you mean on Orange is the New Black. Do you like Umbrella Academy? I did. I wasn't in love with it, but no, I liked it pretty well. I want to see another season. Finally finished Cowboy Bebop, except for the movie. Need to catch up on DuckTales. Oh God, yeah, I need to catch up on DuckTales too. So yeah, the video that is driving me crazy, the editing of, is a video on Cowboy Bebop, and it is a lot of work. This is what I get for getting more ambitious and wanting to include clips and have it flow well and do stuff like that. Like, I can wrap my head around it, but man, it's a slog of a process. Farewell, Marvel Netflix. May we see you in better times. I just hope it goes out well. I did not like second season of Jessica Jones. Robert Pattinson as Batman. Thoughts? Good work. I mean, that's kind of all I got. Do you like BoJack Horseman? I've never watched it. I've heard great things about it, but I've also heard it's monstrously depressing, and I don't think I'm up for monstrously depressing. Not in an extended way. Like Black Mirror I can do, because as depressing as Black Mirror can be, it's an hour. And then I can take a break before I watch more. It's not hour upon hour upon hour of me seeing the same depressing things happening to these characters. Like, I'm not up for it. What's up, guys? Just joined in. Hi, Jonathan. Said it before, but I love David Tennant as Scrooge McDuck. Yeah, he slipped into that part really well. Have you seen Netflix's A Series of Unfortunate Events? I did about 3 episodes of that. I didn't dislike it. I just didn't like it enough to keep watching it over other stuff. Are you excited for Good Omens? Yes! Oh, man, that's another one coming out soon that I'm going to have to... There's so much time I have to find. Oi! Have you seen Killing Eve? That one I have not. Monty Python's definitely going to last forever. Absurdism ages pretty well because it's so weird even at the time it comes out. It just stays weird. John Hamm is a saint. Yeah, in Good Omens. That'll be interesting. Frankly, I wish everyone would stop writing about Robert Pattinson as Batman at this point. Are they what? Like, I'm not even paying attention to the conversation. Like, I bowed out right at the beginning because initially when that story broke, it wasn't confirmed. And so, officially, I still don't think it is, actually. But, like, it hasn't been shot down. So, even if it isn't what's going to happen, at the very least, it's close to happening. So, it's more than likely. But I've just stayed out of the conversation. Are people bitching about it? Why? Because of Twilight? Like, the Twilight was the job his agent told him was good for him. And his agent was right, for the record. Look at other stuff he's done. Not that I think he's an amazing, stellar actor, but, like, his resume is not vastly dissimilar from Bale's prior to taking up Batman. The only difference is he was... Like, imagine if Newsies had resulted in 3 sequels. And then, that's basically what Robert Pattinson is dealing with Twilight hanging around his neck. So, I mean, I'm not going like, he'll be great. I have no idea, but I have no reason to think he's going to be bad either. Petitions have been made. Oh, petitions. I pay 0 attention to fan petitions at this point. It's become a joke. I see the word fan petitions and my brain just shuts off. I can't anymore. Godzilla, King of the Daleks. He was pretty good with David Cronenberg. I couldn't get into that one that they did together. Although Cronenberg is one of those odd directors for me too, where like I appreciate his stuff and I'll watch it once and then I'll never want to watch it again. Robert will always be Cedric Diggory in my heart, as for many people, I'm sure. Are you more excited for Doctor Who Series 12 or The Good Place Series 4? Both are killing me with excitement. Can't wait. I don't know. I don't measure my excitement. I'm not one to compare and contrast. What am I more excited for? No, and my excitement is for very different reasons. I'm excited for The Good Place because it hasn't let me down yet and I want to see what's next. And I'm excited for Doctor Who Series 12 because I want to see how it refines and improves. So, there you go. Petition to stop petitions. Oh my God. If that doesn't exist on change.org, it needs to. A petition to dismantle internet petition websites. Pattinson hated doing Twilight, I heard. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like watch an interview with him talking about that one time, or listen to the commentary tracks. Like I haven't done the whole things with those, but like I've heard snippets. It's very clear that he had no interest in this, and he did it for the boost to his career. It was a career move for him. That's all it was. I mean, that's all it was for Kristen Stewart as well, because like she was a little bit of somebody. But then there's folks like Taylor Lautner, who you could tell was really trying, because like he wasn't anybody before that started. Current favorite Doctor, Capaldi, number 12. Ghost and Drogon, a unique adventure series. Let's reboot Council of Geeks with outside shots and natural light. No, sir, you will not find me in sun. I finally got around to watching The Caves of Androzani yesterday. It was glorious. I'm overdue to rewatch that one. I mean, I like it, but I haven't seen it for ages. The only petition I allow to be a thing is for Class to get a second season. Most underrated show ever. I still haven't seen Class. So I don't have an opinion on that. Michael Sheen was the only good thing about the Twilight movies. He was a delight. I kind of love the last Twilight movie because it is such a uniquely bonkers form of bad. Like, it's insane. Like, that's the thing. The Twilight movies prior to, I would say the last two, definitely, the last one, their main sin was being boring. They were dull. So little happened. But that last one is nuts. It's insane. Like, honestly, if you've never seen any of the Twilight movies, just watch the last one. Get friends, get drinks if you're of age, and just laugh your asses off. It's kind of amazing. Would you be interested in a Doctor Who Halloween special? I mean, I'd be curious. The thing is, though, Doctor Who is capable of being scary in an average everyday episode, so I'm not entirely sure how that would differ from standard operating procedure. Or, you wouldn't need an excuse to go scary, I don't know. Recently watched your Doctor Who villains to not come back. Do you think the Vashta Nerada could return, but only briefly in a special or something like that? I mean, no. No, because I figured there's only one of two things to do with the Vashta Nerada. Either the exact thing that they already did, or I guess one of three things. The exact thing they already did, completely change the way they operate, the way that they did with the Angels, which then minimizes what they were, or have them appear like in a very conciliatory, minor fashion, like there's like a villain has set up a maze and there's a room with Vashta Nerada and like just as a nod, but then that's also minimizing. And they also did that with the Weeping Angels too. Like, just leave them alone. Leave them alone. They're perfect for the story that they're in. Leave them there. Doctor Who Halloween special is called Waters of Mars. Fair point. Do you have thoughts on doing a ranking of your favorite bad movies? I don't, because I'm not even sure I'll have a top 10. Because, like, what I just went through with that last Twilight movie, that's a rarity for me. It is really rare for me to get enjoyment out of a bad movie. I usually just find them bad. By and large, I don't... I just don't do the so bad it's good thing as a rule. So, like, I think I'd have a hard time even thinking of 10. Capaldi banged his head on the TARDIS and Jodie was a coma. Also love that Jodie's doctor is very kind, like Capaldi said to be in his lecture to her in The Regeneration. Yeah, I mean, I get Jodie's approach. I get Jodie Whittaker's approach to playing the Doctor. I feel like the problem right now is the writing. Like, we haven't had proper emphasis on her. So, yeah. Would you do a list of disappointing movies then? Well, I mean, I kind of do. Every year that I do my top 10, I have dishonorable mentions towards the tail end. And I'll mention the worst movie I saw that year and the most disappointing movie I saw that year. So, are you excited for Stephen Moffat's TV series adaptation of The Time Traveler's Wife? No, because the book is great and doesn't need to be a show. And Stephen Moffat has better uses of his time because he effectively already did The Time Traveler's Wife with River Song. He's already done Love Story out of order chronologically. Like, that, I hadn't heard this. If he's actually doing that, that sounds like slumming it to me. Yeah, wasn't he working on a Dracula thing? I don't know. Look, I love the book The Time Traveler's Wife, but leave it alone. Again, like, some things adapt well, some things don't, or they'll just adapt, like, laterally. It'll be no better than the original source already was. Wait, do you like Killer Clowns from Outer Space or any other B-80s, 90s movies? Not really. They're just not really my bag. River with 13. I would like River to see Whitaker and say hello, sweetie. But ultimately, no. I think River's story was done, and I think they need to let it be done. Has he spent... Oh, okay. So, Black Clover, why shouldn't an American play the Doctor? A number of reasons. One, just because I'm a stubborn jackass, and I just don't think it should happen. I just don't think... I think it's too quintessentially British a show. I mean, honestly, we dodged a massive bullet, given that the TV movie that had McGann in it was financed and shot in America. We were really lucky they didn't cast an American, and I don't ever want to go down that road again. I don't want Doctor Who to be Americanized. Not in terms of its approach, not in terms of its shooting style, not in terms of its mentality, and not in terms of the actor. I just don't want it. I love how unabashedly British the show is. And I don't ever want it to lose that. And don't tell me that an American can do a British accent. Just get a British actor from anywhere, any of those islands. Any one of them. Have a Welsh doctor. Fine. Not an American. No. What advice do you have for gender fluid people who aren't out yet, but know their people in their life won't be, you say won't be upsetting. Do you mean won't be understanding or won't be upset? I'm not entirely sure what you meant to say there. So clarify and I'll come back to you. Captain Jack returning, is it confirmed? Not so far as I know. And if it is, I don't want to know. I would like to be surprised by something every now and then. What would you think of Big Finish writers writing for TV Doctor Who? Would that work? I mean, it could, and they even did it to some extent. Because they had the guy who wrote Dalek. Originally, it was Jubilee. Human Nature was a novel. That wasn't Big Finish, but that was also... Like, it can happen, but, like, people have said they want the Big Finish people to take over Doctor Who. I don't. It's not because I don't think they do well. It's like they do what they do very well. And also, running a TV show is not the same as running audio adventures. It's a fundamentally different skill. And whether or not you feel like the current team is any good at it, you don't go that far off the reservation to try and right the ship. You know, if your plumber stinks, you don't suddenly hire a carpenter to do your plumbing. It's a different skill set. Would you like Martha and Mickey to return? At this point, I'm not sure I'd really care. Like, I'm not really that big on too many of the characters from previous eras of modern Who coming back. I don't want the show to become overly navel-gazy or too overly obsessed with its own history. Because then things just become circular, and it makes the universe feel small. That, like, instead of the Doctor encountering new people, they just keep running into the same people over and over again. I just don't like that as a thing. I meant won't be accepting. Okay. Well, okay. So in terms of coming out, there's no easy way, there's no set way to quote unquote do it. There's no way to really do it right. And if you know that the people, or if you're fairly certain that the people in your life are not going to be accepting or understanding or supportive, then kind of all you can do is just be blunt. I mean, the one thing I'd say is have a be careful, because I don't know your situation. So like I'm always very cautious for folks who are still living at home. Usually that's when it comes to teenagers. If you are still in some way dependent on the people who you believe won't support you, be very, very careful, because there is a reason that that trans youth make up a disproportionate percentage of the homeless population, and it's because they get thrown out of their homes. So if you are dependent on people who will not accept you, I hate to recommend anybody stay in the closet, but just know that you have somewhere to go. Whether it's a friend, whether it's a relative, whether it's shelter, somewhere, before you try and come out. But if that's not your situation and they just don't know yet, but you want to not be hiding it from them, all you can do is tell them plainly and move forward as best you can. Like, I've been very fortunate. I have yet to have to come out to anyone who wasn't accepting. That's not to say every single person I've ever met in my life is totally cool with it, but the people who it mattered to me what they thought have all been supportive, and I am insanely fortunate for that, and I know that. Not everyone's as lucky. Most aren't. I saw on Freema's Instagram that she ran into Tom Ellis at a common SLC. Martha and Tom Milligan reunion. Oh, that's cool. I prefer modern. Classic Who drags a lot and often has quite poor actors and awkward jokes. Like, you need to be able to get into the headspace of the era to enjoy Classic Who, and you need to be able to overlook some pretty wonky production design sometimes. But in terms of overall writing mentalities, there's a lot to like about, at least for me, about Classic Who. But there's some pretty sizable and very visible hurdles that you have to overcome sometimes. Just remembered your heel story you told and brought a smile to my face. Why do people have to be mean to people because of something as simple as gender or race or religion? Let others live the way they want. Why can't everyone just be a you do you person? That'd be nice. And the thing is, there's plenty of people out there who think they are that. But when actually confronted with somebody that is outside of their group, whatever it is, they can still get weird. So, like, I live in Vermont, and Vermont is a very tolerant state in a lot of ways. It's actually the top-rated state as far as, by a number of metrics, as far as acceptance of LGBTQ plus populace. But Vermont doesn't have a great track record on race. And a fair amount of that has to do with the fact that Vermont's a really white state. I don't know what the percentage is now, but it's like 90% white at minimum. I wouldn't be surprised if it is 95. And plenty of Vermonters think that they are as tolerant about race as they are about other things, but because they don't have people who aren't white that they're confronting day to day, they don't have anyone to kind of force them to challenge their ideas and their preconceptions. I don't mean like get in their face and say, check your privilege. I just mean like when you have to actually exist with somebody, you come to understand them better, and you come to understand them more importantly on their own terms as opposed to the terms that you project onto them. And that's why diversity is so important, because when you're in a monochromatic and an isolated and in a unified group, your understanding of anyone who isn't part of that group just, it erodes, or it never builds in the first place. So as wonderful as, you know, the whole idea of everyone should be live and let live, which, yeah, I mean, to an extent, there's some things that are like, nah, not okay. But, you know, that's it's the obvious red line crosses that I don't even feel like getting into. But yeah, to hell with Nazis. That's my point. But anyways, we all have prejudices that we don't realize we have until we actually are forced to confront them in some way, shape, or form. And some people, when that happens, can't deal with it. And it's not fun. I've been lucky. My mom has recognized that I've been Demi for a long time. Originally, she thought I was Ace and is supportive. I have to explain to others what both are, though. Kat, that is kind of one of the things, is that anyone falling in the LGBTQ plus spectrum who falls under the plus, so, you know, your demisexuals, your asexuals, your non-binaries, you know, anyone who is outside lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and I get queer is kind of a blanket term. It can mean a lot of things depending on who's using it. But like those four, not everyone approves, but everyone gets what it is. You don't have to define those, but you try to explain to somebody that you are gender fluid, or that you're agender or asexual or demisexual. Like, you have to define your terms, because a lot of people aren't even going to know what the heck you're talking about. All true. I'm still a work in progress. We're all works in progress. The progress never stops. I did my final presentation today on diversity and how to embrace it. Oh, that's lovely. To hell with Nazis, Nathaniel 2019. Can I get that on a shirt? That'll be the next merch I put together, is a to hell with Nazis shirt. Too bad we're humans. Humans really do suck. Yeah! Humans are just kind of... bleh. I didn't come out as gay until I was 25. In Louisiana, mind you. Most have been cold, but I got some people who don't mind it at all. Given my understanding of sort of that part of the country, because I've never really been down there, that sounds like you got about as good as you're gonna get as far as reaction goes. How many more letters will be officially added before we need something shorter? To call the LGBT, etc. See, the reason I used LGBTQ plus is it's an acknowledgement that there's a bunch more. Because if I try and do all the letters, which last time I checked, and there might be more, last time I checked, the full thing was LGBTQ IAPK. And like I said, that was like a couple years ago. But I go with LGBTQ plus because the plus is like my acknowledgement that, like, I know there's more, and just please take it as my acceptance of everyone involved. My priorities when watching a Doctor Who story is that it's creepy or at least fun. Those are both good things for Doctor Who to be. If it can be both, hey! Never visit Louisiana, not even New Orleans. It's human, miserable, racist, and we have David Duke. Yeah. Like, there's a burlesque performer that I follow who's from Louisiana who, like, I really like, I need to see if she ever does a festival away from Louisiana, I guess, because I'd love to meet her in person one of these days. But, couldn't work out what I was. Decided to go queer and save the hassle. Queer's a good blanket term, I find. Some people use it more specifically. Shirt idea. Nathaniel in the foreground, face palming, various Doctor Who monsters in the background, and in text above the image, oh wait, it's aliens. I hadn't thought of that one specifically. I have been conceptualizing possibilities for an "oh wait, it's aliens" shirt. So like it's on my list to try and figure out. Gentleman Jack is a great series. I've heard a few people mention it. I haven't seen that one. It's on HBO though, I think. So, and I dropped HBO as soon as Game of Thrones ended. So there you go. I like the GRSM acronym, Gender, Romance, Sexual Minorities. Huh. Thank you for those that use Q+. If using the LGBTQ+ acronym, we Q+ types get ignored enough already. GRSM, I'm not sure I had heard that one before. Or if I had, it's been a while and I'd forgotten about it. Like, if that one became more popular in use, I'd totally be on board for that. That is one of those cases where, you know, we can say we'd like to be called this, but if it doesn't get adopted widely, you know, what was the use? But if that ever gets picked up, I'd be on board for that. Gotta go for a minute. Oh, well, hurry back, Ari. I love when the Doctor is fascinated with things they find. It's my favorite type of scene. I like when the Doctor gets excited because they don't know something. I am always down for that. What do you think of King Bran? Like most of Season 8 of Game of Thrones, totally solid idea. Iffy execution and a rocky journey getting there. Like at this point, I think what happened to Game of Thrones is incredibly obvious to look at it. Once they outpaced the books and they didn't have the rich, layered, detailed material to work from anymore, what happened was that all they had was basically the cliff notes. They had George R.R. Martin's outline of what was going to happen and where characters were going to end up, but without the full breadth of how they got there as a resource anymore, because they didn't have full books to go by. The last couple seasons just plays like cliff notes, and then this, and then this, and then this, and you're like, well, but the journey, where's the journey? So, would you ever like Doctor Who to cross over with another show? No. No, I wouldn't. Like, I'm debating doing a video exploring the idea of whether or not Doctor Who and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy take place in the same universe, because I've got evidence for and against. So, you know, I don't mind, like, little nods to Doctor Who, or Doctor Who doing nods to something else, like implying that something else is going on, but like proper crossovers, meeting other characters, or other characters meeting the Doctor, no, I don't think so. Where I live, we use the umbrella term diverse people. That works. Anime fills the void with cat-eared boys now. There are a lot of cat-eared people in anime. What about a non-canon W crossover? I mean, if they wanted to do, like, if they wanted to do something like Dimensions in Time, but have it not be painful, like as a one-off and a goof, sure, fine. Just don't do it canon. Don't do it in show. The 10th Doctor is literally Ford Prefect if he was a Shakespearean emo get. I can't remember who it was who commented. Somebody on the Hitchhikers video said that Ford Prefect was like the Doctor if he was bad at his job. Gotta love 10's good old JK. That was a bit. I mean, like, I know Rowling's not like been involved with Doctor Who, but that felt preemptive. Like, especially given that it was done before the last book had come out. Now the last Harry Potter book's fine. It's, you know, it wasn't like it completely wrecked it, but like, boy, that could have gone real bad if it had stunk. The bigger question of cat-eared boys in anime is which ones are official and which ones are fan art. In anime, all fan art is eventually made canon. even the hentai fan art. Oddly enough, 10 is less dangerous than Ford Prefect is. Like, Ford... Oh, man. Ford Prefect... It would be fun going out with drinking with him until he started a bar fight and left you with the tab. Because he would. Nothing wrong with cat-eared boys. I don't know why I love the cat-eared boys. Which anime are good? Depends on what you like. I mean, you need to realize anime is not a genre. Anime is an art form. So there's a wide range of anime. There's romance, and there's horror, and there's sci-fi, and there's fantasy, and there's adult family drama. Like, whatever genres you like in other entertainment, you can find an equivalent in anime. I'm back for a few minutes before bed. Well, welcome back. And when you go to bed, I hope you sleep well, in case I miss you bowing out. It's on deadline. Look for Phil Lord and Chris Miller deal with Sony. I'm not going to look it up now. Somebody tell me what happened. In the comics, Star Trek and Doctor Who crossed over. Yeah, but Star Trek has also crossed over with X-Men in the comics. Come on. Something I recently remembered you might find interesting, seeing as it's both inside and outside your immediate wheelhouses. In Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, if you play as a female, can enter into a homoromantic relationship with Juhani, one of your female companions, who I believe canonically is the first lesbian in Star Wars. Oh. That is cool. I do find it interesting that, like, I'm presuming based off what you're saying that there isn't an option for a male homosexual pairing, only a female homosexual pairing, which the presumed teenage male audience of a video game would think is hot. So, I mean, there's my cynicism slipping back in because it does, because I'm kind of a cynical prick when you get right down to it. Are you ever going to give JoJo's Bizarre Adventure a try? I don't know. Maybe. Someday. At the risk of annoying you... hold on. I lost it now. What annoys me is when the chat scrolls past me. Should they do a new Hitchhiker's Guide TV series incorporating all the books? I honestly don't think so. And it has to do with why I like the novels as the best. Which is that, for me, what makes Hitchhiker's Guide truly special is Adams' narrative voice. And narrative voice doesn't carry over into visual medium. It just doesn't. You lose it. And yes, you can still have the dialogue that the characters say. And you can even still have guide entries narrated by somebody. I mean, Stephen Fry did them well in the movie. But the way that he describes things, the words he uses to describe things, that gets lost. And for me, at least, that is such a big part of what I love about those books that, no, I don't really want to see it adapted to a visual medium. I grew up watching reruns of 50s and 70s TV, and I've seen lots of 90s. Classic Who has similar production values to a standard sitcom drama of the era. Why does everyone seem to think it looks crap? I think largely because most other stuff from that era isn't viewed anymore, but because Doctor Who is still going, people from now are going back and looking at it. And if they don't have the breadth of experience of other TV of the time, then they don't have a comparison, and they just go, oh God, that looks like garbage. But let's be honest, there were some times that Doctor Who looked like garbage. Like, sometimes it just did. Not always, but sometimes, even by the standards of the era, sometimes it was bad. Love the shirt. Thank you. It's for sale on my merch store. I think the last anime I saw was One Punch Man. I did 2 episodes of that, and it just didn't hook me. I agree on the narrative voice. I got hung up on how you would do the guide on TV. Peter Jones did it so well on the radio. Yeah, like the guide sections you could do, but for me at least, it still wouldn't be enough. Throws in the obligatory, it was a radio show first comment about Hitchhiker. I know that, but the novels are still better. Being the first version of something isn't always the best version. It often is, but not always. When I was a kid, I thought Daleks were just the monsters that appeared in a show my dad liked. How old were you when you found out about Dalek? I think the first time I remember noticing a Dalek was in a Red Dwarf sort of joke promotional thing. It was like an A to Z thing, and like for the D's they had Daleks talking about Red Dwarf, and like one of them expressed kind of liking it, the other one was like, "You showed enjoyment, that is not like a Dalek," and he blows him away. And I didn't like them because, like, God, that voice is really annoying. I really needed to see them in context. The Daleks outside the context of Doctor Who, like, whenever the Daleks show up as like a joke in something else, and like, it doesn't work. At least I don't think it does. Maybe I'm nuts. I actually discovered the Daleks in the Mr. Bean Christmas episode. Okay. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Scott Pilgrim, the books? I haven't read the books. My opinion of the movie has gone down with time, and so I haven't felt the desire to go and read the books. Even before I know exactly what a Dalek was, I would also put my face near a fan and say exterminate in a weird voice. They're just so iconic. Even non-fans know them. I mean, I think they're a little bit more ingrained in British pop culture than American. But yeah, certainly. In Lego Batman. Oh yeah, God. The Daleks show up in Lego Batman, but they're just referred to as British robots. Scott Pilgrim book is actually better than the movie. I mean, like, I'm prepared to believe that, but it's just, I don't know. The relationship dynamic. All right, look, I'm just going to ask the spoiler question. All right, Castile. At the end, do Ramona and Scott end up together? That's my only question. I have no place to go if my mom were to throw me out. I have very few in real life friends. And I don't know what shelter I go to. I live in a rural area that doesn't have a bus service. Then, unfortunately, Karasu, that my recommendation is don't come out. You put yourself in too much danger by doing that. And it breaks my heart to have to tell you that, to advise anybody to do that. But you need to be safe. And if it's not safe for you to come out, then you shouldn't. And I hate that. Yeah, they do. Okay. So if it ends with Scott and Ramona getting together, I don't care. I don't want to, because what the ending of that should be is both of them realize they are too freaking damaged as individuals and they both need to learn how to be single for a while. Any ending that is the two of them getting together, I don't want it. I don't care. Like, I need more relationship movies that end with the parties breaking up and it's not a tragedy. It's like, oh no, I should be single for a bit. Because there's so many people in my life who I'm like, could you just learn how to be good with yourself? But they jump from relationship to relationship. And I'm not strictly blaming pop culture for that, but pop culture doesn't help. Scott and Ramona have much better chemistry in the books. It's not the chemistry that I question. It's the very nature of who they are as people. Nathaniel, you're so compassionate. It's funny that I don't usually think of myself as compassionate. I think probably just because, despite my ego, my own opinion of myself is probably not as glowing as maybe I come across. Especially if I stop and think. I mean, part of the let's get introspective for a second, right here at the tail end. So, like, part of the reason that I stay as busy as I do, and that I'm, you know, doing 4 videos a week, and I was doing a video a day for a while, and that I do performance and burlesque, and I write, and I do all this stuff, is that if I slow down and I get introspective, it's better than it used to be, but certainly historically, I haven't loved what I've seen. And I'm better than I used to be with that. I think a lot of it just having to do with having evolved enough and kind of, at least for the time being, broken some of my worst habits. But you know, you move forward however you need to, and I try to be self-aware. I try and have enough introspection, like to have an understanding of who I am. But like deep soul searching scares me. Because when I've engaged in it previously, it hasn't always left me in a good space. And not, I mean, like, not because of any of this. Not because of gender fluidity. Just because of past actions, bad habits, selfishness. But I try and get better at accepting compliments like that. Like somebody calls me compassionate, because my instinct is to go, no, not really. And I don't know, maybe I'm better than I give myself credit for. Wow, okay. Funny when I let my guard down a little bit sometimes. But you care, you know the feeling, and you can help someone figure this out. I always hope that I can help. I am not so arrogant as to assume that I do, but I'll keep doing things that I hope will help. And every now and then I hear that they did. And that that counts for a lot when it happens. Would you want to live in the culture? I'm not sure I would. Like, because I think like most post-scarcity sci-fi cultures, it runs the risk of just being boring. But then again, I'm not done with the book, so when I finish it, maybe my opinion will change. But for how far in it I am, I'm like, I wouldn't want to live there. What is going on? I don't even know. I don't know anymore. You seem very kind and empathetic. Thank you. Did she go through a breakup? No. No, I didn't go through a breakup. I just had an introspective moment live on camera. Is what happened. I didn't go through a breakup. I'm good. Liz is amazing. I'm seeing her this weekend, and hopefully we're going to go see Rocket Man. So, no. My relationship is like one part of my life that like I have no fears about right now, which is nice. So, don't worry about that. You helped me consider coming out. It hasn't happened yet, though. Hey, when you're ready, you'll get there. You do help quite a lot, actually. This is one of my favorite channels because it's a safe space from what you do. You really are empathetic and so sweet. Oh, God. Thank you, Meg. Certain way I feel it. I have body dysphoria myself. I hate my body, my face. Feel the ugliest person in the world. I always wish I could have the money to get surgeries and time to get to the gym. The gym I do feel you on. Like, I don't think I'll ever have surgeries. Like, even if, and like, I still maintain that I'm never gonna do a full transition to like full-time life as a woman. But even if theoretically, let's just go completely hypothetical, even if I did, I don't see myself ever getting surgery as part of that. I don't see myself ever getting actual sexual reassignment surgery. I don't see myself getting facial feminization surgery. I just don't see that. Like, the idea of surgical alteration of my body kind of freaks me out a little bit. I've only had one surgery in my life. That was my vasectomy. I like to avoid having others if I can help it. Really, to me, that's like saying you don't want to be happy or safe. I mean, I get what you're saying, but the thing is, I look at who and like for reference, like he's asking me the question he asked about the culture, which is in the book that I'm working on reading right now, Player of Games, by Ian M. Banks. So the whole society this takes place in the culture, it's a bit utopia-esque. But like the thing is, to the degree that I am comfortable with who I am, and that I actually continue to feel better about me over time. Because as I said, like, I'm in a better place about me than I have been historically. And I wouldn't be in the place where I am now with myself without everything that's gone on up to this point, good and bad. So I can't help but feel that plunking me down into a utopia society that isn't going to challenge me inherently, and it's just a safe space. And this is not knocking. I'm not like knocking safe spaces. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about a fictional utopia here. Plunging me down in a space like that is just gonna. I'm not gonna need to evolve, and I don't like that idea for myself. I'm still working on the book. I'm not saying it will make a bad story or a bad narrative. I'm just, again, we've gone all hypothetical here. I like this channel because it's so much more than Doctor Who and pop culture. If you were to transition fully, would you use Vera as your official name? Or would you keep that as your burlesque name? I mean, I would probably go by Vera, because at this point, like, that is very, very firmly my feminine name. That's how I think of it. Full-time as a woman is boring, even as a cis female. The woman 24/7 will never happen. I have ASD, which sucks because humans want social time, but how much my brain, but like how my brain is wired, it's weird because I don't have the natural ability to do the social bit without messing up. See, like, I have a weird balance when it comes to the introvert-extrovert dynamic. And I do need to wrap it up soon. But, so the thing for me is I need some firm thing for me to hold on to. I need some familiar element to stabilize me, to bring out the extrovert. You throw me in a totally new situation, and I will clam up like nobody's business. Like, I get stressed out the first time I go to any location I've never been before. And not just because I suck at directions, because I do, but like, there's so much of my history is like showing up to some place I've never been before, and something is weird about it. Like, I have the wrong address, or like I'm there at the wrong time and nobody's there yet, or I'm there late and everybody's left, or like I know the building but not the apartment number. I ring the wrong apartment. Like, I get anxiety about that kind of stuff all the friggin' time. So like, I need to either know the place or the people. If I don't know either one, it's just like, hey, come hang out, and like I don't really know anybody, and it's someplace I've never been before. Like, not fun for me. Not a good time. Started to watch Game of Thrones. Now I'm on season 3. Enjoy the wedding. Basically, all the culture novels revolve around people leaving it to interact with more primitive societies where conflict can still exist. Well, I mean, like I said, once I finish it, you'll get my full thoughts on it. Yes, thank you. I need that stabilizer. Just have a security blanket, and every time I try to break out, it feels like a mess, or others ignore me, or I just kind of fade away. Oh, I feel you. Like, I do okay as long as I can have that at least one stabilizing thing. So, like, I'll be okay going to a place I haven't been before with a lot of people I haven't met before if, say, I go with Liz. Because I know she's not going to abandon me. And, like, if I get comfortable enough to break off, she'll also let me do that. But, you know. A lot of us here have anxiety. I certainly do. I think some degree of anxiety is just pretty normal. It's just pretty human. You struggle with directions, not trying to diagnose you, but do you think you may be a bit dyspraxic? I don't know dyspraxia. And it's... What I suck at specifically is my sense of distance is for crap. And so, like, in the days before reliable GPS on, say, your phone, so back when I had to, like, print out directions on MapQuest in order to get anywhere, I would have to remember to use, like, the trip odometer on my car to record, you know, because it's like 3.4 miles down the road, take this turn. Because you need to realize, living in Vermont, a lot of these there's like massive space between some of these roads, and not all the roads are properly labeled. So if it's something like that, I would need that trip odometer to tell me when I've hit 3.4 miles. Because if I forgot to do that, I would get to something like 2 miles and go, oh my God, I haven't seen it. I must have passed it, and turn around and go back, and I hadn't even gotten there yet. Like, it's my sense of distance that is the most screwed up if I'm trying to find directions on my own. I have so much homework for tomorrow. I'm losing my mind. This live stream is the only thing keeping me sane right now. Oh man, then it breaks my heart to say that I really need to wrap it up for the night. Been learning more about my disability, cerebral palsy, in the last few weeks, and it makes complete sense to me now. It is funny how when you kind of come to a better understanding of some of these things, and it clicks a few things into place about yourself to you, and like that's kind of nice when that happens. What part of Endgame did you like? I liked pretty much the whole thing. I didn't have any complaints about Endgame. I'm terrible with judging distance. Oh, then you and me both. See, the whole get comfortable thing hit because I moved so much during high school, and it just leaves me feeling like I never got to establish good friends, so I just shut down. That kind of thing can be an impact a lot of the time. Maps are not my friend. Yeah, maps, like, thank God for GPS, reliable GPS on the phone. Like, it has made my life so much easier. Thank God. Wait, this isn't going to be a 3-day long live stream up to the weekend. No, it's not. Oh. You know, if I had the kind of time, or if I thought I had the, you know, the pull, like some kind of charity live stream, you know, just to keep it going and raise money for something, I'd be up for that. But like, I also wouldn't count on myself to organize it, so I don't know. So somebody find me a charity live stream that I could like inject myself into. There you go. I'll have to feed the Flurkin and the Time Lord kitty. Yeah. I got to close it out myself. So thanks everybody. I hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend. I hope you have a good rest of the week. Hope you see maybe a good movie this weekend, because there are some ones coming out that should be good. I mentioned, Rocket Man. Liz and I are gonna go try and see. I'm gonna try and find the time to see Godzilla, because I really wanna. Like the last one wasn't great, but like I'm hopeful. I'm fingers crossed on this one. And if I get to that one, I'll probably actually put up a review on it. But thanks so much, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. Those who chipped in. Those who didn't, thanks for sticking around. And if you watch, if you subscribe, if you like, if you lurk, whatever it is that's going on, you are beautiful, you are loved, you are valid, you are the Council of Geeks.